Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to talk for like 10 minutes max, I hope, and tell you a little bit about my process, how I got here. Thank you all for being here. I've got all kinds of people from all places of my life, and it's wonderful. You might, I don't know, it's getting... Come on in. Come on in. Proud it's all good. Okay. So, some of you know I've been teaching art in Berkeley, well, I taught for 30 years. One of my students, who's a grown-up now, is here. And so I've done a lot of different kinds of art, but in 2016, late 2016, early 2017, I had my first experience with a gel plate. This is a gel plate. They aren't always attached to something, but this is mine today. And it's a squishy substrate, which is great for making monoprints, meaning prints that just are one of a kind. And I made this book of all different jelly printing ideas, but mostly when I started it was all about the textures that they could create. Bubble wrap was a favorite. And I just was learning different techniques using stencils that other people made. And then I realized that I could make my own stencils, and that's when things got really exciting. So the first stencil I made was this shape. It wasn't this big when I first made it. Of a tree that I saw by the Yuba River when we were on vacation in like November 2020. And so I took a photo of the tree, traced it on my iPad, and then sent the design to a machine that cut out, it's called a Cricut. It cuts out this plastic Duralar, I think it's called. So then I could use it to make designs with my gel plate with varying colors. And I kind of got obsessed and made tons and tons and tons of this one's Lucas Valley Road. It's only half as big now. This is on campus. This one was this enormous beech tree in Oregon. And then I posted when I had a show in 2023 at the El Cerrito Annex. I made a video for YouTube that talked about my process because it's kind of hard to. People always ask me, how do you make these? And then these other YouTubers found me, and they make stencils, so I've licensed some of my designs out to them and sell my stencils there. And then I expanded. This was from my show back in 2023. It was mostly trees. Then I started doing more botanicals. And I will take this opportunity to show you the difference between, sorry, this doesn't really stick, but this is a mask and this is a stencil. A stencil, the paint goes through the actual holes. And a mask masks off what masks the paint. So that's, fast forward to 2 years ago, 2024, there's a local artist I've taken workshops from, and she did an online class on, oh my gosh, my former students here, this is just like amazing. Okay. I've got grown-up students here. I've got adults who used to be my students. It's really, anyway, I love teaching. So, where were we? 2024. Oh, I took this online class on botanical jelly printing, and it just sort of expanded what I did. Because like when I first started in the like 2017, 18, this was the kind of botanical print I did. Okay, it was fun, but you know, you can see I've come a long way. That's what happens when you keep doing something. So the way I do it now is, let's see if I can. Okay, I set this up for you. So the first thing I do is I put roll paint onto the gel plate. I use acrylic paint that dries really slowly. which is important when you're doing botanicals. So, and then I place the botanicals on the plate after it has the paint on it. Then I take this paper. This paper is very special. It is medical exam paper. You know, when you go to the doctor and they put this stuff on the table? Well, that's what I use. And I've tested a lot of different papers, but this one is, in my process, it has to get wet. And I use some other papers that are, well, the reason I love this paper is that it goes very translucent, quite transparent when you layer it. And that's a key to my work. But, okay, I'll get back to that one in a second. I only rehearsed once. So after I get most of the paint off, the next pull or print that I get is the rest of the paint that's stuck to the plate. And there's always a little in the background still. And to me, this just makes my day. I just could do this all day. I just love the shapes of nature. I'm just, I think being a teacher and working with kids and simplifying things, you know, I do these lessons on negative and positive space, and I just really notice the shapes between the branches, and it thrills me. I mean, not everybody gets so excited. I'm lucky that way. But so when I pull the next print, I can kind of push the botanical down a little bit, and it pushes just a tiny bit of paint around the plant material, so that I just love that. And then I take the botanicals off the plate, and wherever the botanicals were, still have paint left. And you can come peruse my stuff later, but if you're interested. But it retains all of the texture from those plants, and it's just yummy. So this I might use, well, I'll show you a couple of ways I might use that. So I work on wood panels because they can handle a lot of layers. I don't know, I just like the stiffness of it. So if you get it wet, this is not going to be perfectly easy to see, but you get it wet, you can see the colors from behind. So it ends up being, it just allows me to build those layers, and I can decide this, I call this auditioning. So I audition it and I say, do I like that on there? No, let's see it on another one, you know. So I try out lots of different things before I am sure. Now remember those plants I just took off this plate? Well, they've got blue paint on the bottom side of them, and we can't let that paint go to waste. So then I've coated another gel plate with creamy yellow. I've taken those botanicals, flipped them with the paint side up, and then I have pulled another print. And again, you get that texture. This particular plant held a lot of paint, and the other one's a little less, but then you get the gorgeous, gorgeous detail. And then of course I take that off, and then, oh look, there's more paint, gotta use that too. So I have a flat file full of gel plate prints. But let me show you one more thing, and then I will stop talking. So this is I usually work on panel, but sometimes on paper, and it was easier to bring. So I also, this is another similar stages of the same thing I just showed you. And by the way, you can't control very much on the gel plate. And I love that because I'm a former perfectionist, and it's really fun. It's not a fun way to do art. So I mean, like, I couldn't predict where these little spots were going to show up, and that's what gives me so much joy. I'm just like so happy to be in the studio creating. I just love it. So again, let's audition this piece. And this has a larger, I mean, the negative space is mostly covering most of it, and it's not a super interesting negative space, but good enough for demonstration. And then you can kind of see some tree branches in there, and so that you end up seeing through to what's behind. And yeah, the exam paper, it's hard because when you work really large, it can be hard to manage when it's wet. This paper is what I used to use, and it goes even more transparent. It's just like it disappears, which I love. But trying to place, I just made this for the green piece on the end, just a few days before the show went up. And using this paper is, I liken it to trying to control wet Kleenex. Sometimes it lands and you're like, oh, I guess that's where it's going to go. So again, I embrace the surprises and the imperfections because otherwise it would not be fun for me. And I am about enjoying myself. There are definitely frustrations, but I just love this process I've come up with over the years, and I think that's all.